Good afternoon, folks. Please come on in, make yourself comfortable. We do expect more folks to be joining as we continue along this presentation today. For starters, my name is Jason Camperlino. I go by Jay. Please call me Jay. I've been Jay my entire life. It's only since I began working for the state of Tennessee that my legal name, Jason, is actively used in these forums. So please, Jay is perfectly appropriate. My title is that I am the Youth Transitions Director for the Department of Disabilities and Aging. In particular, I work with one of our newer programs that's called MAPS. MAPS stands for Medicaid Alternative Pathways to Independence. You will soon learn in today's presentation that at the state of Tennessee, we love acronyms. We love to take these complicated, phrases and break them down into a simple 3-letter or 4-letter acronym that we will refer to it moving forward. And I will do the same with that today as well. So as I get into this information, I will reference the Medicaid Alternative Pathways to Independence program, just known as MAPS. Many of you guys have probably received a statement that we have sent out to folks that are on the Employment and Community First, or ECF, Choices Referral List. The department has partnered with TennCare. And while you are on the waiting list awaiting ECF services, TennCare wanted to ensure that you guys knew that the MAPS program had immediate capacity to begin delivering services. And this process would not impact your status with the Employment and Community First Choices program at all. You can remain on that referral list and continue to receive MAPS services. And so today, our intention is to give you an overview of the MAPS program. We will describe to you a little bit about the history, what it is, eligibility criteria, things that generally you need to know in order to be consider the MAPS program. I am joined by one of my transition guides who oversees everything within the West Tennessee region, Carly Bensavanga, who's going to be joining us as well. She is the other one that's on the screen right now. We are going to do a sort of tag team of this material. I am going to start the presentation and review some of the slides that we have prepared. During that time, Carly will be monitoring the chat function. If you have questions regarding anything that you see, please do not hesitate to use that chat function. And between Carly and myself, we will be sure that we get everything answered for you before the conclusion of this actual presentation itself. Towards the halfway mark of the presentation, I will turn it over to Carly. She will wrap it up and we will end with ensuring that all of those questions get answered. You may notice that the microphones have been muted for everybody for the entirety of this presentation. That is purposeful. We anticipate people coming in and leaving. We had around 50 people that have registered. And so in order to ensure that you guys can hear the information from Carly and myself, we have muted everybody. So the best way to get questions answered at this immediate time is to use that chat function. By all means, there's the ability to reach out to both Carly and myself at the conclusion of this presentation if you would like some more additional information on the program and or anything that you see today. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And you should be seeing my PowerPoint come up now. Carly, is this coming up okay? Good deal. For starters, again, my name is Jay Camperlino. On this screen, you will see my email and you will see a phone number. That is my direct cell phone number. Don't hesitate to use it. Myself, Carly, and her counterparts in Middle Tennessee and East Tennessee, we talk MAPS all day, every day. So there may be something unique about your circumstance that you would like to dive into a little bit more in depth. Please don't hesitate to reach out. That's exactly why we are here. Today's presentation is going to cover a host of topics. I'm going to begin by describing to you what is MAPS, who it is for, how it can help you, and then we're going to take a little bit of a look under the hood. I'm going to introduce you to some of the components that we are directly implementing within the MAPS program. One of those components is something that's called a virtual community resource map. There's no coincidence that the MAPS program centers around the utilization of a map that is available in the virtual world, and we will introduce you to how that is encompassed within this program. At that point, Carly will take over and she will introduce to you how we are helping folks receive MAP services in their home, how folks are being helped with their MAP services at their workplace, and lastly, how folks are receiving MAP services in the community. We will wrap up with telling you how you can actively begin the application process and a quick snapshot of where we are today. So what is MAPS? It's a newer program. It supports people with intellectual and developmental disabilities who want to increase their independence at home, at work, and in their community. You see those three categories referenced again: home, work, and community. Those are the three main outcome areas that we aim within the MAPS program to assist people at achieving greater levels of independence. Within each of those outcome areas, we have identified a prescribed list of what we call milestones or goals. When somebody wants to achieve greater levels of independence in their home environment, they can select a milestone under the home outcome area that will help that person achieve greater levels of independence in their home. And everything that we do within the MAPS program is in pursuit of that milestone achievement. When that person achieved greater levels of independence in that milestone, that is when the entire program has been a success. Confidence is building, and you will see how we continue to build off of that. MAPS is a different program than many of the ones that are out there in that it is a short-term service. MAPS is a 3-year program whereas a person works on those milestones. Comparison to the ECF program, which is a long-term service. When somebody is enrolled and approved into the ECF program, you gain access indefinitely. As long as you are satisfied and everybody's doing what they should, you gain access to the ECF services indefinitely. The MAPS program begins day one of enrollment, and 3 years later, we intend to be finished with our programming. So right there from the beginning, our approach begins with an end in mind. We do not want to create dependencies overall on the supports that we're providing in the 3 years. We introduce technologies, we innovate, we provide innovative services where provider organizations will come over periodically to deliver the services and then fade out as quickly as possible so that you have not developed a dependency on us and then at the end of 3 years we're gone anyways. So there are some unique differences between the ECF program and MAPS. There are also a lot of fundamental similarities between the two programs. Now, who is MAPS for? Well, it is for people with intellectual or developmental disabilities who want to learn skills to help them to work. The state of Tennessee is an employment-first state, and MAPS follows that initiative as well. We believe true independence can be achieved through the pursuit of employment within the community. We believe MAPS is for people who wish to live independently, whatever that looks like. We have folks within the program that demonstrate a wide variety of needs, and everyone has the ability to increase their independence in some capacity. We believe that the milestones within the MAPS program can be applicable to everybody. We simply need to identify where are you in your independence for those particular milestones, and then we will work to increase that level of independence wherever you are. MAPS is for people who wish to learn about their neighborhoods and to find hobbies that interest them. When the MAPS program was initially designed, it was targeted for that transition aged population, for those high school students that are just about to leave the high school setting. When a transition age student leaves that high school setting, it's often referred to as the cliff. What happens when school is no longer a major part of that person's life? And MAPS intended to be a solution to help prepare those students that are aging out of school so that they can assimilate to an independent lifestyle, whatever that looks like. But that also includes ensuring that you're actively engaged in your community, finding hobbies, and not just falling completely off of the cliff into no man's land. What we have learned over time, however, is that the MAPS program has been beneficial not only for transition-aged folks, those kids that are just about to age out of high school, but for folks that have already left the high school setting, for folks that are actively going to college. We even support folks in the MAPS program that have left the high school setting 20 and 30 years ago. We have folks that we're supporting who are well in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. The milestones are applicable to just about everybody. The major difference that we receive is that the participants within the MAPS program, we really try and utilize technology as much as we can. I'll tell you more about that here in a bit. An individual with an intellectual disability might have trouble learning at their expected level or doing daily activities without assistance, such as letting others know their wants and needs, taking care of themselves or their home, talking with other people, staying healthy and or safe. Intellectual disabilities are usually known before a person turns the age of 18. Now, why am I showing you this today? Essentially, this is one of the eligibility criteria for the MAPS program. This program is only for folks who has a documented diagnosis of an intellectual or a developmental disability. Now, we will accept just about any documentation we can get our hands on that confirms that. But this gives you an idea if you are unsure if you might fit this mold. This is some general information on what an intellectual disability is. Who is it for? MAPS is for people with an intellectual or developmental disability who will leave the high school setting within the next 3 years or have already left. So we talked about one of the eligibility criteria where the person has to have a diagnosis of an intellectual or developmental disability. The second one is there is an age consideration. And this is probably the most confusing thing that I'm going to try to communicate today. Because MAPS is only good for 3 years, we want to time the beginning of the MAPS services with the person's last 3 years of the high school setting. If that person, nope, they do not. They just have to have a diagnosis. If that person is leaving the high school setting at age 18, they would be age eligible at age 15 or 16. If the person is going to remain in the high school setting until they're 21, they would then be eligible at age 18. The point that we're trying to make here is we want to time the services with when that person is about to leave the high school setting. We don't want to start too soon and then have a couple of years of high school and then they still experience the cliff arrangement. We intend to provide 3 years of services that coincide with the last 3 years. Or MAPS is for folks who are already in inclusive higher education programs like Next Steps or Ideal or Future. These are programs at inclusive higher education programs such as Vanderbilt University, University of Tennessee, Lipscomb. All of these colleges have an inclusive higher education program. And if you know somebody within those inclusive higher education programs, MAPS would be a wonderful support option for those folks. So now you're hearing that there is no age maximum. You heard us talk about the last 3 years of high school or folks who have already left the high school setting. So there is no age maximum. There is only an age minimum. What age are you going to exit the high school setting? That's when we ask and make that age eligibility determination. The last one is if you are on the referral list for other long-term services and support programs like ECF Choices, MAPS is for you. MAPS is a program that you could get started with right away while you are awaiting enrollment into the ECF program. At some point, if you are enrolled into the ECF program, you would have to make a choice, however. MAPS is not for people already enrolled in a home and community-based service or a long-term service and support such as ECF. The point here is you can't have both at the same time. The services are too similar, and the state would view that essentially as double dipping, receiving two services. You would have to make a choice. You can receive MAP services or you can receive ECF, cannot receive them both at the same time. If we receive an application for somebody who is already enrolled into the ECF program, we would be unable to enroll you into the MAPS program because you're already receiving a long-term service. The MAPS program can work, however, with other state-funded programs like vocational rehabilitation. If your loved one or yourself, if you are actively receiving services through vocational rehabilitation, MAPS is for you as well. Those two programs can coexist. If you are receiving the family support program, MAPS and family support can coexist. If you are within the Katie Beckett waiver, state of Tennessee has all kinds of programs. And so we look at which programs you're receiving to determine that there's no immediate crossover and that the programs are uniquely different. And if they are, we can enroll you. The main takeaway here is if you are already receiving the Employment Community First Choices program, we would be unable to enroll you in the MAPS program. I don't know. Can you hear this okay?
Work this in the summer.
Or just turned 18, he's getting ready to graduate high school. We're going to get him into some kind of job program, which is what we're doing with MAPS now to hopefully teach him some more skills where he can actually go out and run his independence and be able to run his own life. Or has set down his creating his own goal, the gas station. That was his first and most important goal that he wanted to accomplish. I know his employment. We're working on safety skills and he's learning about himself. So we're motivating him to put in information about him and how to keep him safe.
Go straight. Can't fall the road.
I ended up coming over and sitting down and showing him the DCRM and how if he can use it to navigate his surroundings. And the first thing I said, which phone do you want to work on? As we were building him away or some awesome, he said, I want to go to the store.
I mean, we can exercise. I don't know. Drive there because it's close.
So the first step we took, we walked together and we mapped it. We looked at all the barriers, such as crossing the street and navigating how to interact with his community, such as the community members, neighbors, young children. First, we entered the store together. I just observed him, how he interacted. We just discussed the positive aspects of everything I observed, and then some of the barriers I observed. And we started working as a team of how can we resolve them? What are things that we could do to give him tools to help him? Can you talk about the things you've been working on?
Not saying disrespectful words, not get angry about when they told me it's not enough money to get the candy or drink, self-control and stuff like that.
First time he came, so he's the first time he just coming and just say hello. And day by day he's coming and he just asks me about hi, hello, everything. And he just ask me what's your name and how's your day going on. So he's day by day he's processing. The progress was great.
It was scary at first, especially because I know he just does his own thing. He doesn't know fear and are worried about other people with him. After seeing him do this several times, I don't even have to worry about it anymore. One of the big changes we've seen is him being safe. It's built into his maps to notify his parents, to let them know he's taking off. And he has done that, and that's been a big improvement.
I've really been impressed with how he uses the phone. The programs they use has been very beneficial to him. With the laundry, that was a big start there. He step by step with the program on his Maps phone, took videos. If we're not around, he can look at his phone and say, oh, that's what I need to do. That's what button I need to press.
Work wants to be very independent. The MAPS is a program to instill independence, build independence, building that confidence, building that natural support, building those relationships to motivate and instill independence.
So in that video, there's several things that you see. Warwick is a gentleman that lives fairly close to me, coincidentally. He lived here in Mount Juliet. And this was a gentleman that was in the summer. He began his MAPS program, really wanted to demonstrate some significant independence, obviously a very skilled young man, but he had some issues with learning safety and control and awareness. And so the MAPS program got involved. You saw Warwick carrying a phone with him. The MAPS program provides a mobile device to all of the MAPS participants. When you enroll into the program, we will provide you with an iPhone or an Android, whatever you choose. We will pay for the entire data of that phone for the entire 3 years of the program. And on that mobile device will already be downloaded several mobile applications that we will introduce you to throughout the entirety of the MAPS program. You saw Warwick using those mobile applications. This is an example of some of the technologies that we really try to focus on so that at the end of 3 years, when we are gone, those technologies can still exist. Those mobile applications that are on that phone can still exist and be available for Warwick whenever he needs to do his laundry, or the individually developed route where Warwick walked from his home to the gas station using his mobile device will still be available for him after the 3 years. So you see some of that starting to come to life. And those are just some of the examples of some of the technologies that we introduce within the MAPS program. And believe me, we are enjoying finding solutions every day to help increase individuals' independence at their home, at their work, and in the community. Everyone within the MAPS program secures a $2,500 annual budget that can be used for any technology solutions that can aid in the independence increasing of home, work, and community. We purchased a scooter for somebody. We purchased Ring doorbells. We purchased medication dispensers. We purchased cooktop induction stoves. You name it, we are really pushing the boundaries of trying to find those solutions that can be introduced to the person so that they may have greater levels of independence. Now, how can MAPS help you? We can help set you up on a pathway to independence. We will give you the tools, the technology, and the supports that you need to meet the goals that you set for yourself in those 3 outcome areas: at home, at work, and community. We do this through 3 main points. One is enabling technology. It's what we call it. Any mobile device, iPad, laptop, technologies, devices, Alexas around your home. We will introduce those so that they can help you meet your goals of being more independent at home, at work, and in community. We are implementing a peer mentoring approach where everyone within the MAPS program will have access to somebody with lived experiences that they can communicate with on their development and their progression in general. Essentially having somebody else in your corner to help motivate you to achieve the goals you set for yourself. Lastly, we help people on a pathway to independence through direct and indirect support. And I need to spend a couple of minutes here on this component. When people think of services, they generally think of somebody coming over to your home 5 days a week, 7 days a week, 3 times a week, staying for a prescribed amount of time and delivering those services in that window. We do some of that within the MAPS program. We see a lot of our provider partners starting off with a lot of direct support. They will come over to the home twice a week, 3 times a month, 4 times a month, and deliver direct services towards the milestone accomplishment. Throughout the month as well, they may deliver indirect supports as well. What does an indirect support look like? It can look like anything. It can look like a FaceTime phone call in which your MAPS supporter calls the MAPS person yourself and introduces options for you to continue to push towards milestone independence. They may send homework, they may send videos, they may organize community events where people come together and demonstrate and experience community activities together. All of this sort of culminates into a person-centered approach of how we're going to deliver supports and help people. We also introduce you to what's called a virtual community resource map. I have one of these. I have developed myself. Carly, who's on the call, is a VCRM specialist. Probably the coolest thing that I've seen in the past 25 years that I've been a part of delivering services. My history started in the private sector, in which I was the director of an organization delivering services for children and adults. The virtual community resource map is a powerful tool that we put in the hands of the person on their mobile device, which is a culmination of all of the people, places, resources that are important to you. It's a specifically designed map that includes all of these things that are important to you. Your team helps you build this. You have a member from an innovation coordinator. What is an innovation coordinator? Well, this is sort of that third-party case manager, if you will. The state of Tennessee will contract with provider agencies who will actively deliver the MAP services. There's also an innovation coordinator who serves as that liaison between all of us and the actual person themselves. You will have a MAPS provider agency, and anyone else that you want to be a member of your collaborative team can be there. We will help you develop your own virtual community resource map and how you can use that virtual community resource map to track how you're doing towards your milestones over the period of 3 years. How that tool can equip you to identify more goals as you exit the program, and how you can use that virtual community resource map to help you achieve those goals. You've heard me talk about milestones, and one thing that I have neglected to indicate is why, other than somebody gaining independence, why would somebody want to work on goals like this? We have created what we call a person-supported establishment incentive. Basically, at the end of 3 years, if the person receiving the MAP services has achieved a minimum of 6 of the 11 milestones that we offer, we make a payment available to you. We make a payment available to the person receiving the MAP supports in the amount of $4,000 that can be used to go to college, to use as a down payment on a car, a down payment on an apartment. Anything that the ABLE account, we have to pay it through an ABLE account, which is a savings account. Anything that the ABLE account recognizes as a qualified medical expense, which also includes clothing, food, utilities, you name it. So a lot of uses for these funds. So all of these tools that I've indicated, enabling technology, the virtual community resource map, the provider agency, your innovation coordinator, all of this culminates into a process where the person works towards milestone achievement. At the end of the 3 years, if you've achieved 6 of the 11 milestones, you're more independent, and we make a payment available directly to the MAPS participant. The VCRM helps you also identify the people and places that are important to you. It also includes those goals in those 3 main outcome areas of home, work, and community. Here's an example of what one looks like. This is a screenshot of a sample virtual community resource map. On the left-hand side of this, you will see a series of what we call assets. An asset is a resource or a location that is important to you. We would program all of the resources and our assets specifically important to you into your virtual community resource map. For this person, we had a goal of securing employment in the community. So the top part of that says career development and employment. Under that layer or main goal are all of the resources that can be accessed to help that person achieve greater levels of independence with gaining a job. When you click on one of those individual resources, another individual window pops up and it includes information that is important to you. How many times have you had a vocational rehabilitation plan that was written on paper and it stays at home when you go and meet with your VR counselor? The virtual community resource map allows you to upload that plan into your map. Now you can access your plan via your map directly from your mobile device, just like all of us do. We all pull out our phone, we scroll on it. In this case, the MAPS participant will open up their virtual community resource map, find the asset for their VR plan, click on that asset, and there is their actual plan itself. It pulls together all of those resources into a single location, and now we all go to that location for all of those resources that are important to those person. We train our MAPS providers exclusively on how to do this process. Carly has overseen the development and progression of a newer platform. Basically, we're getting better. Every year in this program, we have gotten better. And one of the things we've realized is the VCRM needs to be more functional. So it has been. We've developed a brand new platform, and it's available for folks who enroll into the program now. With your VCRM, you get to know where things are in the community. You can build a daily schedule so you can get to school or work. You can learn how to travel in and around your community using shared transport, public transport. Shoot, as I said, we had a person that we bought a scooter for so that they could navigate from their home to their place of employment. That is an independent travel opportunity that was appropriate for that particular person. You can find opportunities to meet new people, and you can continue to find resources so that you can explore new interests and goals. All of this will be able and accessible on your cell phone, tablet, or computer that is provided through the actual program itself. Now, the MAP supports. If I'm going to take a deeper dive into technology, I've got to give you some more examples. Enabling technology is the use of devices and technologies to support a person to live as independently as possible. These types of technologies includes sensors, remote support systems, smart devices, mobile applications. There's mobile applications that you can use to get around your job and your community, help you gain more control of the environment. One of the applications that we use at the very bottom of this screen says Wayfinder. Wayfinder is a mobile application that you can develop individual travel routes from one location to the next, whatever that looks like for you. For me, it may be if I want to go to the post office, I can open up the Wayfinder application, click on it, identify the post office, and it will give me step-by-step directions of what I need to do to get to the post office that are individual specific. It may start with, Jay, don't forget your wallet. Next, Jay, get your keys to your car. Next, Jay, lock the door on your way out. We can program this application to include whatever prompt is needed for you to be able to achieve that activity within your community. Endeavor is an application as well that does the same thing within the home setting as well. Peer mentoring can help you connect to peers who share similar interest goals and have shared life experience of having an intellectual or developmental disability. Both you and your peer mentor can learn from each other to achieve your goals. A direct support looks like a MAPS provider when they come over to help you learn the skills you need to be more independent. You can receive the direct support from a person who is trained to support you to gain independence in those skills. All of the MAPS providers that we contract with at the state of Tennessee undergo a significant training regimen that prepares them to deliver MAPS services in identifying what our milestones are, what our services are, what enabling technology options exist, etc. They can support you in person or remotely. Direct and indirect support will decrease as you become more independent and comfortable in your new skills. Remember, it's a 3-year program, so we're really trying to avoid that learned dependence. So you'll see those providers start fading out as time goes throughout the year. Now, I'm going to turn it over to Carly so she can talk with you specifically how MAPS can help you at home.
Thank you, Jay. So MAPS can help you gain independence at your home. This can look like learning skills that are going to help you with home safety. How can you stay safe if you are independently at your home? How can you prepare healthy meals for yourself or for your family? Maintaining your personal hygiene and taking care of yourself. Managing your health, which looks like scheduling your appointments with your doctor. How do you ask for medical help when needed? Let someone know that you're not feeling well. And how can you manage your money, which looks like paying bills, creating your own budget for groceries and other living expenses, and how can you set up a savings account and learn how to save your money? So within the program, you're going to work with a person called an independence coach. And this is a person who is at one of our contracted provider agencies. They're going to work with you to help you learn these skills and provide support until you no longer need it. So as Jay was saying, you might start out with a lot of support at the beginning, and then as you learn these skills and become more independent, that support will fade fade that support that you're getting for those skills. Enabling technology is another way that we have used for support. This can help you stay safe while you're at home by providing a Ring doorbell so you can see who's at the door. Medication dispensers can help you with managing your medications and prompting you. There's so much enabling technology out there, and we'd love to help you find those resources and technology that can help you with your goals. So this is some of the different ways that you can use enabling technology while you are at home. So this looks like motion sensors to help your supports know when you might need some help. Like I said, a Ring doorbell can help you know when you have visitors or if you got food delivery, things like that. There's also live or on-demand audio and video calling. There's devices that you can press a button and be connected with your support people. And then automated medication dispensers, they will actually, in the morning, at night, whatever your schedule is for medication, they will automatically dispense whatever dose you need to take. Then we will move into how MAPS can help you at work. So MAP services can help you if you want to find a job or advance your career. You can choose to receive supports to find a job based on your strengths, skills, and interests. You can really work with your provider to do some assessments and kind of figure out what might be a good job opportunity or career path for you. You can figure out what support you may need at your job to be successful, whether that looks like a job coach coming to your job with you, or maybe someone is just talking to you via a headset and helping you out at your job. They can help you learn how to travel to and from work and set up a plan for how you get to your job. And of course, they can help you with getting a promotion or making more money at your job. A person called a job coach or a job developer can support you at work until you no longer need it. So again, they can help you and then they can fade out that support as you gain more independence at your job. And then enabling technology can also help you reach your goals at work. So again, there's many devices, there's smartwatches, there's different video technologies that are going to help you at work. So some of those examples, when we're thinking about enabling technology for work, can be a phone or a tablet that can prompt you, remind you of your job responsibilities using video, audio, or pictures. So this can remind you to clock in. It can remind you to take out the trash, whatever your duties are at your job. This can prompt you. You can have a phone or tablet that has GPS on it that can help you figure out how you can get to work. How are you going to take the bus, take an Uber? Maybe you can walk to your job if it's close by or ride a bicycle. So that device can help you do that. There's also online assessments that you can take with your provider agency to learn about your skills, strengths, and interests, kind of give you a career readiness assessment and help you determine what steps you may take to get to the job that you're thinking about. And then there are some virtual reality programs that you could take part in to learn about different career paths, learn your job. You can actually wear a headset and be in different job environments and see how that feels for you. And then finally, we want to talk about maps in the community. So with your virtual community resource map that Jay showed previously and other map services, you can get support in your community that can help you to become aware of where your job, school, and other places are within your community. You can develop routines for scheduled and unscheduled community outings. So you can determine which days of the week you're going to a book club or you're going to the gym to work out. And then also you can determine how you can find interests and goals that are unique to you. You can meet new people and make connections with others in your community who share your same interests. So we've had people that want to explore a certain sport or a certain book club or a video game. We can help with finding those connections. We can help you to learn more, to be more confident in situations or places that might seem overwhelming. And then we also do have a fully customized travel training curriculum, which is an online training that will teach you how to navigate your community safely. And it's a really, really great curriculum that any MAPS participant will have access to. So finally, how can you apply for the program? Enrollment to the program has an application on the DDA Tennessee website. When you click on the link for that application, it's going to ask you basic information. It's going to ask you your name, address, email. It'll ask for the social security number, and then information about the parent or guardian or any sort of authorized representative who might be helping with the application. Documentation isn't required when you submit the application on the website, but it is needed later on in the process. So I would recommend, as you're going through the application, think about where that documentation might be and get it ready. So some documents that you might need are any medical records that show a diagnosis of an intellectual or developmental disability. There can be an IQ evaluation that was done that diagnosed that intellectual disability. There can be school records that identify the diagnosis. So an IEP or other assessments that have been done at school. Again, there could be therapy notes or assessments that a clinician completed. There can be documents from the Social Security Administration that list that diagnosis. There might be a diagnosis listed on some conservatorship documentation. And then there's some consents that just need to be signed with the application as well. So where are we today with the MAPS program? So we have enrollment of over 700 and we're working up to 1,250. We're delivering services throughout the entire state of Tennessee. We have over 20 provider agency partners statewide. We are completing our peer mentoring training, so that is very exciting to be setting up that for our participants. There have been over 330 virtual community resource maps validated. That's really awesome. That's showing that many of our participants are building those maps and getting their resources all together in one place. We have had 700 individual milestones achieved, which is also really, really great to show that our participants are reaching the milestones they set for themselves. And of course, we are learning, growing, and improving every day for the MAPS program. So where can I find more information about MAPS? We have a MAPS webpage where you can find the latest updates on the program. The MAPS webpage has a ton of information. There are also some videos on there. If you go to the MAPS success page, you can see some more videos of some of our participants and their success stories. And then you can follow DDA, Tennessee DDA on social media. So on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. So now we will open up. If anyone has any questions, you can put those in the chat and we can help answer those.
Thank you, Carly. While some of us may be getting ready for questions, I'm going to take this moment and just show you the MAPS website of where you can access the information. So when I share my screen again, essentially on the Tennessee Disability and Aging website, you will see a host of programs that are provided. By finding the Medicaid Alternative Pathways program, it will bring you to this page. The very first thing that you see on this page is the application. Simply clicking here will take you to the Medicaid Alternative Pathways to Independence application, and it essentially is 4 pages long, and it was created to be very painless. There's demographic information that we have to know to get started. I really encourage that you just be specific and accurate with the information on this application, because this application is what starts everything. If you give us the wrong phone number or the wrong email address, we may not have any way of contacting you. But once you actually submit that application, it will be received by DDA. We receive the application, and you will receive an automatic bounce back email to the email address that you input within your application. This bounce back email will basically acknowledge we've received your application. We will begin processing it on our end. Here is where you can submit documentation that confirms the intellectual or developmental disability. And it gives you, again, those examples. Basically, sending in the IEP or the conservatorship documents or anything to the prescribed location on that bounce back email is the best way to get the process started. Essentially, we're looking at four things. Do you live within the state of Tennessee, with the exception of Clarksville? If you live on the Fort Campbell base in Kentucky, we make an exception that if you live technically in Kentucky on the Fort Campbell base, you can be eligible for MAP services. Do you have a documented diagnosis of an intellectual or developmental disability? Are you within your last 3 years of high school or beyond? Or are you currently receiving another long-term service and support? It's really all we check. So you can see the process has been really simplified to make it easy. Once we get all of that information, we then begin trying to identify a provider match. Who is going to be the provider that is able to begin delivering services to you or your loved one? Once that is confirmed, your enrollment date begins, and we are off and running for 3 years. We do not enroll persons into the MAPS program until we have secured a provider agency that will actively deliver services. Why? We don't want to waste any time. We want your enrollment date to begin the date that services actively begin. And so we try to do as much on the front end as possible. On this website as well, you will see a host of information. Don't be shy to scroll through all of this information that's in here. Every arrow that's in here takes you to additional information that tells you more about the MAPS program. One of the links that Carly referenced was this MAPS success page. Simply clicking on that page will take you to more videos. You actually got to meet work already, but you can see other videos of things that we are doing with folks within the MAPS program that gives you a little bit of the flavor of what we're doing. We believe MAPS is available for everyone. You'll see Lorena is a lady well within her 60s that has decided to move out by herself for the first time in her 60s. We've been able to help her achieve those goals. Stanley is a young man in his 20s that wanted to move out and move into a more independent living arrangement. You will see that through the MAPS program, Stanley, Austin, he goes by, has actively received gainful employment. He's using the income to further his independent living outside of living with mom and dad. Daylene and Jessica, they wanted to go to college. They wanted to go to Austin Peay University in Clarksville, Tennessee. And so we got to follow their journey of how they began pursuing post-secondary education. Javion is a young man that is just phenomenal. He's a young man that used the mobile technologies to attend a mobile luncheon with the department. And he used his shared transit, his VCRM. He came to this location all by himself, had lunch with us, took off when he was done. And so you get to see some of the folks that we've supported receiving the services that they're receiving. Scott has created his own business. He wanted to do a drop ship business through Amazon that we've helped him create it. Now he's up and running with it with some minimal supports. And so thank you for pointing out the success page on our website. All of these are available to help folks achieve and learn more about the MAPS program. Some of the numbers that Carly represented, we're actively supporting 700 folks. We've got funding for up to 1,250, so we've got capacity. I'm telling you this because I don't want to send the urgency that you've got to apply today. I don't think that's necessarily best for everybody. I would rather you be informed. Take a look at the website, look around. You'll find our contact information. You may come up with questions, and by all means, send those to us. At the point when you feel that you've got a good understanding of what we're trying to do and you feel this is a good match, go ahead and apply, and we're happy to navigate those processes. But I just want to ensure that we recognize this first step of the process is information gathering, starts tonight, as well as carrying forward from tonight when you can go on our website and learn a little bit more information. At that point, I don't see any other questions in the chat. I'm going to hang out just another minute just to see if something comes in. Otherwise, guys, it has been a blessing. Thank you for spending some time and learning about the MAPS program today. If there's anything else that we can do to help you, don't hesitate to give us a shout. Does the program allow you to customize and select the exact direct or indirect services needed? Is there an assessment to identify? I wish I'd learned about this program sooner. I've been the primary support for my daughter, and I've been working with her on many supports listed here, connected with outings, traveling, community, and technology around them. This is a great question, Gloria, and you've really uncovered a lot of what we're trying to accomplish here. Does the program allow you to customize and select? To a degree. Again, we all recognize that there's learned dependency that occurs from traditional services, and we really try to do whatever we can to avoid that. So doing that recognizes that our provider partners will implement an innovative approach to delivering the services through indirect means. Now, to give you some examples, it's really customary for you to expect early on that somebody may visit you, 3-4 times a month, 2 to 4 times a month to start. The rest of the indirect support throughout the month may be weekly and or through homework settings. Again, the sooner we can introduce the technology, the sooner that we can fade out and we can start developing that reliance on the technology. Is there an assessment to identify? Not to identify the frequency of the indirect supports, but there is multiple assessments to determine your interest, your skill set, and how we can use those assessments to increase the levels of your learned independence. Gloria, I'm glad you found us. We've only been in operation. We launched in November of 22, so we're relatively a baby still. The concepts are not like this program is not offered anywhere else in the country. So it's not surprising that we're still getting our feet wet to actually, get the word out there that MAPS is an available program now. We have full intention on delivering these services and support. So Gloria, my email address is in the chat. Feel free to shoot me direct messages, or if you want to call me, I'm happy to engage in phone conversations as well. See how we can help some of those feelings of what's next for me if I approach this program. Some of that depends on where you live in the community, what part of the state you're in. We've got contracts with organizations across the state. Obviously, there are more resources in more urban areas. Unfortunately, there just are fewer resources in more rural areas, and we can't necessarily control that. But so there's a lot of contingencies that go into consideration there too. John, you're very welcome. I hope you found the information helpful. By all means, you've got contact information as well. And by all means, we're here. It's what we do. Please don't hesitate to reach out if we can do anything. Guys, I don't see anything else. I guess we can go ahead and end the meeting. Have a great rest of your Wednesday and hope to hear from you guys soon. Bye, guys. Thanks, Carly. Appreciate you.